Welcome. It is 7 o'clock. I'm calling this Germantown School District meeting to order. If you would, please stand if you're able and join us in a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1A, official meeting notification. Dr. Reuter.
Public notice of all meetings has been given by communication from the superintendent's office to the public, to those news medias who have requested such notices, and to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Northwest Now, Express News, and West Bend Daily News. Public notice has also been posted in schools throughout the Germantown School District, as well as on the website and cable access channel 96.
Thank you. Item B, roll call.
Medved.
Here.
Reinman.
Here.
Myself, I'm here. Loth.
Here.
Ewert.
Here.
Pollock.
Here.
And Soderberg is absence excused.
Thank you. Item 2, approval of agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Amanda and Tracy. A second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Moving on to item 3, reports. District Administrator update. Dr. Reuter.
Thank you. Just a few updates of what's going on in the district as we get close to closing out January and look forward to February. Tonight I want to recognize we have 3 GHS students that are graduating at semester. They'll be part of spring ceremony but have the credits needed to graduate. And those 3 students are Gwendolyn Hartley, Jaden McAleeve, and Daisha Zhang. So we'll congratulate those students publicly for their hard work and completion of high school. This last week, myself, a couple administrators, Mr. Soderberg, Mr. Ewert, and Mr. Pollock were all able to attend the Wisconsin State Education Conference at the Wisconsin Center at various sessions throughout Wednesday and Friday, and next month we'll do a little recap of sessions we went to and information from legislative level to policies and seeing presentations of other school districts and what they're doing and how that might relate to our improvement efforts long term. So just wanted to highlight that. We do, as you're aware, have 2 open seats. Unfortunately, Ms. Reineman and Mr. Soderberg are not looking to run again, and we have 4 candidates that are running for those open seats, 2 open seats. I've been able to meet with all 4 candidates, talk with them about what they can bring to the district, and have been able to answer their questions. And a few candidates want to follow up with some facility tours and things like that. Our winter sports season is, almost halfway done. I just wanted to highlight that on January 7th, our DECA team competed at Kettle Moraine High School in a regional event where over 50 of our students competed in events related to business, management, marketing, and leadership, and really did proud for the district, as well as boys basketball, girls basketball, hockey, gymnastics, swim, wrestling. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. They're all in full swing as we get through our conference seasons and then into the playoffs. And then I just wanted to highlight an event that's taking place here Wednesday night at the PAC. Our Black Student Union and Mesa Group are hosting a documentary called The Exchange. I know a few board members are attending. I plan to attend, and we have a lot of interest in that as well. So just some great things going on in the district. And then tonight we have a bunch of presentations, so I'll wrap up here, but I'd like to thank our high school administrative team is here to talk a little bit about academic and career planning and some of the work through programming we're doing there as our school spotlight this evening.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on. Item B, student representative report. Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Amy Bell has started 2023 off on a high note. They were able to jump back into the learning and fun, but they are more excited for February because they have their annual PTA fundraiser, Dinner with the Arts, which entails an artwork display around the school by all the students, a spaghetti dinner, a talent show put on by the students, and amazing raffle baskets put together per classroom from family donations. They will also be doing their Super Bowl soup donation, which runs for 10 days leading up to the Super Bowl with the help of the K Kids program. These donations are then donated to St. Boniface Food Pantry located in Germantown. But right now, they're just working up on building their knowledge. Over at County Line is ready for 2023 and all the learning, memories, and fun that'll take place within it. The PTA hosted a snowball event where the students were able to come and make crafts and enjoy some hot chocolate. County Line students also had a very special presentation about weather from the CBS chief meteorologist. The second and fourth graders also welcomed in the new year by performing in a concert to showcase all of their knowledge and hard work so far. The Comets are ready to take on 2023. Rockfield was super busy during the month of December with their annual running reindeer. Right when they came back from winter break, they were able to participate in an all-school flashlight reading. Over at Rockfield, they care a lot about the environment, and the Green Team was able to partner up with GHS's Environmental Club to encourage using metal sporks in the cafeteria instead of plastic ones. The high schoolers met with the Green Team earlier this month to create a signage and a plan to get started. The Green Team also shared out their plan on the Rockfield News, so the students and staff were all informed of the goal of using more metal silverware in the cafeteria. The school is already working hard to recycle thanks to the Green Team. MacArthur has had an amazing start to the first half of the school year. They have loved setting goals a priority as the students are striving to be their best. Teachers have been working with the students to make goals that are achievable and challenging the student body to be at its fullest potential. Perseverance has been a big focus so far. They had a Miss Wisconsin volunteer come and speak to the school about how perseverance, and she gave wonderful examples of individuals who did just that to achieve success. She focused on the abilities of these individuals to keep going, even after failures and mistakes. Last week, they had a whole school celebration to recognize the student behavior and allow students to enjoy some hot chocolate and hot apple cider. They had a wonderful start to the school year and are excited to see how it will end. Kennedy Middle School is a busy place and has a lot to get involved in outside of school. Their current after-school activities, sports, and clubs include volleyball, AVA club, student study skills, forensics, Best Buddies, Young Writers Club, yearbook, junior key club, Mesa, newspaper, math counts, ski and snowboard, and the KMS Junior Key Club is currently running a sports drive where they are collecting new and gently used sports equipment and shoes that they will donate to the Cream City charity. The drive will go till February 14th. Check out the middle school's Facebook page where they're posting awesome things that are happening. This past week, GHS students were busy studying for their final exams. GHS just finished up their first semester on Friday, and the students and staff are ready to take on their new schedules starting tomorrow. Activities within the high school have been in full swing these past couple weeks. The GHS DECA team competed at their district competition at Kettle Moraine High School. The team earned over 45 medals and qualified 15 students for the state competition this spring. Both the boys and girls basketball team have been battling through a tough conference play to prepare them for the postseason tournaments. The girls gymnastics team had a great run at the Homestead Invitational. Both the boys and girls hockey team have been bringing home victories these past few weeks. The boys swim and dive team have been working extremely hard and have had great performances thus far. And last but not least, the Germantown wrestling team has had a ton of success so far. With the start of the second semester, the students and staff are ready to take on the rest of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Another excellent report. Any comments, questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item C, GHS school presentation. Mr. Barron.
All right, good evening. Thank you for having us. In the background information, you saw a lot of there's a lot of information in there, but the history of the dean position. So just a couple of things I want to say before I turn it over to my colleagues who did an awesome job on this. First, thank you to the board members, current and past, for approving the initial dean position, which would have been in the fall of 2019. And then due to some budgetary issues, it was not renewed. So we brought it back about this time last year, and the position changed to a Dean Academic and Career Planning Coordinator. That's for you, Mr. Loth. I know how much you love acronyms, ACP. So, and Testing Coordinator. So thank you to current board members and former administrators and current administrators for supporting these positions. I know that when we brought that back last year at this time, there was some concern in public comment that the dean would just be dealing with discipline all the time, and I think I wasn't worried about that, and I think you'll see tonight all of the great work that went into it. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Smith, Mr. Rooney. So David was our first dean/ACP coordinator and began in March of last year. Did some awesome work initially with that, and then was chosen as the candidate to be the assistant principal. So then we brought in Mr. Rooney, and they've worked together on this as a transitional piece, and you'll see again today some of the awesome things that are going on. It's a ton of information, but Dr. Reuter assured me that board members love reading everything, so we gave you a lot to read. And there's a lot of good work going on here, so I'll turn it over to them and thank them for their work so far on this.
Thank you, Joel. We wanted to provide a brief update on the work that we've done in ACP over the last year. So over summer, I was able to present on the Class of 22 Workforce Snapshot, where we tracked a variety of data from academic, career, and life skills. We're going to continue to track that data for every grade level. A lot of the data comes at the end of the school year, so we don't currently have an update for each individual class. However, we will continue to track that progress and see the growth in each of our students. During that presentation, we did identify 3 goals moving forward with academic and career planning. Those are increased ACP engagement, real-world experiences in the classrooms, and improved college and career readiness. So we've continued with that focus and taken steps in each of those areas to continue to build upon the ACP program here in the Germantown School District. Part of our increased engagement is focusing on our software, Zello. So software is a student-based, or Zello is a student-based program that allows students to focus on their academic and career planning aspect. We use this throughout the entire school year during our resource period, where students are engaged in a variety of activities that help them focus on their life after high school. Their freshman and sophomore years really focus on knowing themselves, their interests, and things that they might want to pursue. Their juniors and senior years start to help them take those concrete steps and think about what should they be doing now and what can they be doing in the future to set themselves up for success. Last year, in the entire school year, we had 5,266 total logins across the school. As of January 16th this year, we already have 1,000 more logins with half of the school year to go. And it's not just the total amount of logins that we're looking at, but it's what the students are doing when they log into those programs. Every grade level has 4 specific lessons that they complete that, again, build off of each other year after year so they can continue to progress and think big picture. Now they have the 4-year aspect of what they want to do, and we help them continue so they don't go off after they graduate without an understanding of some possibilities in front of them. Additionally, with increased engagement, we updated the school website to include a lot of information that was not yet available. We wanted to make sure that students, parents, guardians, and community members all had a better understanding of the work that was being done in the school. Prior to this update with the website, some of the information was provided, however, it was kind of buried in the website and a little challenging to find. This is now front and center on the high school website, where you can go to the academic career planning page and you have a variety of information. Up there are a couple different grade level previews. We have one for every single grade where you can see classes that they would be selecting from, Zello activities, ACP lessons, additions to their graduate profile, artifacts that they'll complete, as well as state mandated assessments. In addition to that, there's information such as a resume template, financial aid and scholarship information, as well as Common App shortcuts. We wanted to provide as much information as possible for our students, for their parents and guardians, so they knew what to expect every single year moving forward. And lastly, with engagement, we adopted a new software called Efficiency that we use during our resource period. We have travel days every week where students are able to identify which teachers they need to go and work with, or other students that they need to collaborate, and we give them more control over their own learning. Every teacher has a session on every travel day. Up to this point in the year, we've had over 4,000 total sessions. 27 different clubs or extracurriculars have used this as an opportunity to meet, sometimes the leadership group, sometimes the entire club. 26 different colleges or universities have come to speak to interested students during this time. 22 different classes have held review sessions, test sessions, or makeup sessions for different assignments or lectures. And overall, we have had over 45,000 total student requests. So we've given them the opportunity to tell us what do they need to do with that time, who do they need to go and see, and they're really starting to take advantage of that. Moving forward with that efficiency, we have our teacher and coach, Jake Davis, who will begin his Hawk Talk series that he does yearly that has a variety of lessons and life skills for the students that they're going to be able to sign up to come and listen to, as well as have teachers live stream across the school. And Andrew has also started doing a guest speaker series where we have people coming in from a variety of different companies, industries, and professions and make themselves available to answer questions, talk about their career path, their day-to-day, and have students come and listen to get exposed to a variety of different opportunities available to them after high school.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Joel. All right, so a big theme of what we have been trying to do and what we will continue to do is giving these students real-world, tangible practice. So a big part of that is going to be different partnerships that we have made within the community. We actually had a great meeting today that Tom was at with us, in which we were building yet another partnership with a company. So the Germantown High School chemistry classes have been working with Gale Foods and JW Speaker. Excuse me. And so those students are doing a wide variety of projects in the science classroom. We are currently working on a relationship with the company Felons that will be starting in May of this current school year. And this is going to be focusing on getting our students to think critically about a wide variety of topics, some of which are very unique and interesting, such as finding new uses for common household string and how they can use that for some of their products. As Dave said, we have launched our career speaker series, which has brought people from the finance industry, military. We have a broadcast journalist who's going to be here in March. So once again, trying to give our students a wide variety of real-world practical experience. Excuse me. And a few months ago, we took over 100 students to the Washington County Career Expo to expose them to the hundreds of jobs that are out there. And we had a meeting with CISA 1 a few months ago, and they were very impressed with the work we have done as a district and our website. And a big part of what we talked about with them was something called Pathways. And that's going to be a major goal for us through the end of this school year and then into next school year. We'll show you one that is near completion here in just a second, but a pathway is basically just what it sounds like. It's a pathway for a student as they work through high school, if they want to enter a certain career field, be it finance, be it construction, be it nursing. What classes do they need to take? What classes does the high school offer, and what types of groups can they be a part of? And we'll see it just right here. This is one for architecture and construction. So up top there, it shows what the CTE courses, so courses that you can take at the high school that actually give you credits towards that profession. And it says classes that you could and perhaps should take for someone who wants to get into that field. It goes into different student groups. For different pathways, there are going to be different opportunities for students to get college credit. And we have 5 different pathways that we currently plan to have done by the end of June. So ultimately, this will be on our Germantown School District website. This will be linked with Zello. So as students continue to go through the Zello software, they'll say, okay, you know, it's great to find out all these fun personality traits about myself, but how can I actually use this information? Okay, I want a career in construction. These are the courses that the high school offers. These are the courses that I should take. So it's going to give them really tangible and helpful context in that sense. And then lastly, next steps, continuing to get students and community members engaged with our Zello software, continuing to expand our community partnerships, and then finish all 6 of those pathways by June. Thank you. Any questions for either Dave or myself?
I don't have any questions, just really glad that you guys are working with CISA 1 on this because they have just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to pathways, so I'm glad you guys are collaborating with another organization.
Yeah, thank you. No, they have been very helpful, and yeah, we've actually had 2 follow-up talks with them, and they continue to kind of guide us through this pathways process.
And that's what their job is, right? So
Yeah.
utilize
Yep.
them. So awesome. Thank
Exactly.
you guys.
I realize you probably couldn't include all the material in the board material, but, so what you've got here for architecture, do you have a similar page like this for welding, machine shop, woodworking, and all the other tech ed subjects?
Great question. So that's not a pathway, but it is something that we're still going to provide for students and families. So the pathways on a bit more of a specific level mean that the high school offers classes that you can actually get certified in that profession. So there's nursing, finance, construction, architecture.
I didn't mean to forget auto mechanics also.
No, just because I don't think that's a CISA pathway yet, but for all of those different fields, we plan on creating pathways that maybe aren't CISA 1 certified, but still show the exact same information so that parents and students can say, okay, I want to do X. These are the classes that I should be taking.
And so just adding on to that, the pathways that we have identified have been approved by CISA based on the courses that we offer. We will still be able to have our own pathways as the Germantown High School, where we know that these courses build into these different career paths. So we can still provide that information to students at an early age where they can identify different careers. Just because it may not be a CISA pathway doesn't mean that it's still not a viable pathway for them to explore and have all the courses listed. Now, by using the grade level previews, we can have freshmen develop a 4-year plan for themselves. And if by the end of their sophomore year they decide this isn't the pathway for them, well, for our mentality is it's just as important for them to learn what they don't want to do as it is to learn what they want to do. And they can then change their routes, but they can identify the courses and the opportunities for where they can schedule them. So while we do have the CISA approved one, we'll continue to develop the Germantown pathways as well.
Right, there's a lot of good paying jobs out there that don't require going to college.
Exactly, and we want to make sure that the students are all aware of those opportunities, and I think a part of that also goes in line with bringing companies in, the guest speaker series, getting them collaborating with different courses and content areas, because there's a lot of opportunities out there for our students, and we want to make sure that they're aware of all of them, and our goal is that these companies are banging down our doors and they're fighting over our students, and we want to make sure that they all have that skill set where they are in high demand, because they are right now, and they're taking those classes. We have these offerings, so we want to make sure that they realize how much opportunity they have in front of them.
Right, and many of those type of jobs, the employer will pay for their newly hired worker to take classes at night or something to get other certifications, so it doesn't get any better than that, in my opinion.
Correct, absolutely.
And just one last thing, a lot of this, or most of this would not be possible. If you remember conversations about the resource period, I started work on that in 2015 and conferred with other schools. We implemented it in 2019 at the worst possible time because we only had a couple of months before the shutdown. So we didn't do this just for ACP, but when you saw conversations about teachers linking with students, getting extra help, when you have 80% of your students involved in a co-curricular activity, and you have 24 buses rolling out at the end of the day, an opportunity in the middle of the day for students to connect, to get extra help for enrichment activities, and to do this. I don't know how we would possibly do this without having that time period in there. So several years later now, we're kind of getting to where we wanted to be. We got interrupted for a period of time there for obvious reasons. So just a sidebar note that the value of the resource period is incredibly important.
Thank you. Any further questions? I do appreciate the report. I think you guys gave us a nice, comprehensive update on what's going on in our high school as far as career planning. I've always liked this program, and I think with the help of Jake and you guys coming on board now, I think you've improved it, and it's looking good. I think with education and career planning, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So getting the kids to be able to look at a field and find out exactly how to get to that path and learn more about it is very helpful. And I think part of it is we don't know what careers are going to be there in the future. That's a part of it as well. So thank you for doing that, and I hope our students benefit from it. Seems like they will. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item D, 4K satisfaction report. Mr. Masek.
Good evening.
Good evening.
to the other end of the spectrum. We'll talk about 4K. Tonight, I'd just like to provide you an update from a survey that we provided to our families in November to measure a couple of critical elements of our 4K program. And prior to getting into that, I would have to give a huge shout out to our 4K staff who are doing an exceptional job this year. You can see from the data that was provided in that short survey that the individuals that we have who are working with our 4K students this year are doing an amazing job with the students. So Miss Amy Heller and Rachel Stallings at Amy Bell, Beth Lassiter and Kathy Simonis at MacArthur, Amy Barris and Amy Bassey at County Line, and then Cullen Moen at Rockfield. So just to give you an update of where we are in our 4K play-based curriculum, we're currently engaged in the theme of Wonderful Winter, and you can see that coming up in February. We've got Kindness Counts, followed by March, where I Am a Reader, in April, Super Spring, and then we're moving into May and June, where it's Look at Me Grow. So the 4K teachers continue to develop the curriculum around the standards that we adopted for 4K, but it's still in a theme-based curriculum. So our short survey measured 4 critical elements that we were looking for to get feedback on from the beginning of the year. So the first question was about the Ready, Set, Go conferences where we launched the start of the school year. This provided families an opportunity to come in and meet their teacher and then provide our teachers with some critical information about their students and help our teachers get to know their kids before the year started. And you can see that our families rated that they were 98% satisfied or very satisfied with how the Ready, Set, Go conferences went. In addition to that, with 4K programs, there's outreach activities that our teachers send home. These are a way for us to build a connection with home. So our teachers provide parents with opportunities for their students to work on skills at home. So an example of this would be working on gross motor skills in the wintertime, putting on your clothes independently as a 4K is a big deal. So our 4K teachers send home information to our parents about gross motor skills and then provide them an opportunity to practice something at home. And then parents send some feedback to the teachers about how well their students are doing at home with that activity. And again, 96% of our parents were satisfied or very satisfied with the outreach activities that we were providing. In a school year, we provide, it's going to be over, but we're required by the state of Wisconsin to provide 87.5 hours of outreach that our teachers are preparing for families to work on at home. And then we also surveyed parents about the October conferences. So the October conferences for 4K families mirrored what we do at the elementary, middle, and high school in terms of the time where they could come in and meet with the families. There was a little bit more on the front end for our 4K family, or for our 4K teachers, because some of them have 2 classes. So they did a nice job preparing for those conferences and making sure that we were providing information that our families were looking for, and 99% of our families said that they were satisfied or very satisfied with the October conferences. And then finally, the number that I think our 4K teachers should be very proud of, it's how likely our parents would be to recommend this 4K program to other parents, and they were 100% likely or very likely to recommend our 4K program. And then going forward, 4K registration for next year opens up tomorrow. So families can start registering for our 4K program on our website. And then in the spring, similar to what we did last year, there's going to be a 4K family night where 4K families are going to be able to come into the schools, and then our elementary principals will provide information about our 4K program to our prospective families.
Any questions?
Any questions? Comments? Okay, thank you. That's a great report. Sounds like 4K is doing well, and I think your timing was good for registration for next year. Starts tomorrow, so thank you.
We planned it that way.
That was very good. All right, moving on to item E, Germantown School District Annual Assessment Report. Mr. Masick and Mrs. Leeson. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
All right, so the report that Julie and I have prepared for you is kind of a highlight of some of the assessments that we have given in the last year, so it gives us an indication of how well we are doing as a school system. So you'll find in the report that there's information about the state report card, and then we've given you an overview of the last 5 years of that assessment, or the state report card. There's 1 year that's missing during the shutdown. The forward exam wasn't administered, so there wasn't a state report card that was administered during that year. You can see, given our district score, it has slightly dipped over time. One of the things that I mentioned in the report is prior to the 2021 school year, those scores don't necessarily correlate perfectly with the scores after that. There was a change in the scoring system, and that kind of makes it no longer an apples-to-apples comparison. So there's a little bit of a data change there. But as a district, we continue to exceed expectations and do very well. One of the things that I'd like to point out for the state report card, even though you're seeing some of that dip in the overall score, if you actually look at just our achievement in the areas of math and English language arts, you'd see from last year to this year that we've got an increase in both of those areas. So even though our overall score on the state report card dipped, in the area of achievement, we continue to grow in the number of students who are proficient and advanced as measured by the forward exam. The state report card measures 4 key areas, and one of those areas is on track to graduation. One of the significant differences in last year's state reporting compared to previous years was in the area of attendance. There's probably many reasons as to why there's a significantly higher number of students who were absent last year, and that negatively impact our state report card. We're taking steps this year to kind of correct some of the reporting pieces that go along with attendance, as well as make adjustments to the way that attendance is recording. We're still in compliance with what the state offers, but there are some ways that we can more accurately reflect student attendance that it will positively impact our state report card.
Okay, so we're going to dig into the high school. So at the high school, there are a couple of assessments that we wanted to showcase, the first one being the ACT. This chart shows the past 5 years ACT scores for GHS, and then also the state average comparison for the 4 subject areas: English, mathematics, reading, and science. You will notice that in general, we are trending down for our scores as the years progress. However, we are still above the state average. Also, in the full assessment report, you can see the combined ACT average, GHS versus the state. Also at the high school, we give advanced placement assessments. The advanced placement assessments are a method of students getting college credit for classes that they are taking. We have a lot of students who are taking advanced placement classes. You'll notice the number of exams that have been taken for the past 3 years, and then also the exam scores that the students have received. Anything 3 and up is considered passing, and they can get college credit for those exams. And we have a number of courses that our students are taking. Our passing percentage has increased over the past couple of years, which we are very proud about. The other statewide assessment that is given at the high school is the ACT Aspire. That's given in 9th and 10th grade. It's actually changing this year. It's going to be called the pre-ACT. So we won't be able to have quite an apples-to-apples comparison moving forward, like Jake mentioned with the state report card, when we're here next year. But ACT Aspire has been around for a while, so we can compare the past 4 years of ACT scores. This one shows English language arts. You'll notice that the dark blue is advanced, any student scoring advanced in that area. Purple is proficient. We have yellow basic, below basic, and then our did not test. The past couple of years, we have seen an increase in students who have opted out for the ACT Aspire. In 2020, it was most likely due to COVID, and last year still a little bit, most likely remnants of people staying home and not wanting to test. And then here is our ACT Aspire for mathematics. You'll see an increase in our advanced from last year to this year, and also our proficient score as well. In the full report, there are breakdowns for other subject areas as well.
So as Julia showed you in the ACT Aspire report and then our forward assessment, you can notice that there are several trends that kind of mirror each other. So there tended to be a dip from that 18-19 school year to the 2021 school year. But we're noticing the number of students who are advanced and proficient, both on the forward and the ACT Aspire, are both growing. So that those are indicating some positive trends. It also kind of highlights one of the reasons why when we're looking at learning loss, we're looking at targeting reading and math so that we can continue to support students so that we can get to that 18-19 level that we were at. At the last Teaching and Learning Committee, Mr. Loth had asked a question about the NWEA MAP assessment and its usefulness in the school district. These two reports kind of highlight some of the information that we can learn from it. So the projected proficiency helps us in fall determine how many students at the end of the year are going to be proficient on the forward exam. I mentioned in the report that it tends to be a conservative indicator, where in Germantown we typically have more students who are advanced or proficient on the forward exam than they are on the NWEA assessment. So it's kind of a good correlation between how they will do, but it's conservative in terms of the number of students that it's predicting will be proficient or advanced. You can see by this, it looks like we're going to exceed last year's levels. So the indication is we continue to perform pretty well. And then the last piece for the NWEA MAP assessment that teachers can find useful is it helps predict students' growth. So we can measure our students making what we would anticipate be 1 year's growth in 1 year's time. This report shows that you can see that students as measured from last fall to this fall, had made more growth than the year previously. So again, this is another positive indication that our school district's on a nice rebound from the dip that we saw from 18-19 to the next school year. And with that, if you have any questions about information that's in that report, Julie and I would be happy to answer them for you.
I think the only question I had you kind of answered is, why did we see that downturn in scores? Obviously, we expected some learning loss because of COVID. When do you expect like a full bounce back across the board? I know it may not be an easy question to answer.
I don't know if I can 100% predict that. You see that if you look at our ELA levels from 3 years ago compared to where they're at now, we've almost made a full rebound. So our ELA scores have made a nice turnaround. Math, again, I kind of explained this when we were looking at the ESSER funding that could potentially go towards learning loss, that we see a little bit larger dip in math as compared to reading, and that's kind of why some additional funds were allocated towards math. It took about 3 years for reading to rebound. It's hard to say exactly when we might see math catch up. But you can see from particularly the graph that's here that once we see students who are making what we anticipate being more than 1 year's growth, that you can start closing that gap to what they've lost.
All right, thanks. It's certainly good to have this data when we talk about where some of the ESSER funds should go next year, specific to learning loss.
And then
Thanks.
can you refresh my memory? Do we have a new reading program right now, or it's writing that we're focusing on?
We're currently focusing on writing.
Okay, so this moving up is not due to a new reading program. It's just what we're working with
That's
now.
correct.
Okay,
There has been, in the last couple of years, an increased focus on phonics at the elementary school. So part of the learning loss that was experienced may have been mitigated by some of the additional strategies that have been used at our lower
Great.
elementary.
great.
Thank you. I noticed that this report only goes back a couple of years, but from memory, I'm thinking that we had a nice little steady trend and a slight uptrend going into COVID, and then obviously we got affected pretty hard like most districts did. But I'm happy to see that we're back on the uptrend, and I think there's a lot of hard work being put in to get our kids caught up, and that is appreciated. So keep up the good work, and I think we can get back to where we were and start exceeding those numbers again. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item F, Germantown School District Parent Communication Report. Dr. Reuter and Ms. Race.
Yeah, this evening we wanted to share, I think this is Ms. Race, our Communication and Marketing Manager's first board meeting this evening. So those of you who have not met her, this is Mandy. She's new to us this last July and has done an amazing job with our communication and communication marketing of the school district. So this evening, I'm going to turn over to Mandy, and she's going to kind of walk through some results from a parent external communication survey we sent out in late November and had an excellent response rate towards.
Thank you. Following our district communication plan for the year, the brief survey was emailed to parents at the end of November. It was sent out via email over Skyward and contained 7 main questions. In total, we had 805 parent responses, and this slide here breaks it down by school. In the next several slides, you'll see how parents rated the district and our schools in relation to communication efforts. Results have been shared with our principals and are very positive overall. MacArthur ranked the highest under highly effective, and then all other schools ranked effective, as well as Germantown School District as a whole. And then moving on to the question of frequency, how often should we be sending out the newsletters? Both on a school and district level, parent responses showed in favor of monthly newsletters. Following this frequency, I think we are able to strike the happy medium to keep parents engaged. Moving on to what parents want to see in newsletters, these answers are guiding us and helping us stay on track with relevant information. If you've read any of the district newsletters since September, many of these focuses have already been incorporated. We've spotlighted the 4K program as discussed tonight. We've highlighted the high school tech ed program. We've shared music performance dates. We've shared different things happening in the community, and so forth. One area that we will be striving to implement regularly moving forward is a Board of Education section. And with that section, I'll be working with Dr. Reuter on including it. On the next slide with the school newsletter information, we found that the answers very similarly followed the district newsletter information. So we're also working with our principals on that.
So as Ms. Ray said, our principals have this information specific to their site level, and we'll be working in the next few months on what important dates mean at an elementary level, middle school, and high school, because of course we have those access points on our website. For instance, co-curriculars, you can go and see the active live calendar, but what are those PTA events, what are those school events? Obviously we have our school calendar, but how do we itemize out what is important, what's consistent, but what might be unique to each of the elementaries, then obviously middle and high school, as well as celebrations and achievements and what makes each of our schools, 6 schools, unique, but also part of one school system and how we work together. So that'll be work we'll be doing with our principals, as everyone does have a form of communication, but you'll see in a minute on a slide, it varies on frequency, it varies on format, and it varies on topics and areas to include as well. So we want to build some consistency, so at the end of the day, the end user, the parents, the community, understand when they get that link, when they click on it, they have that structure of what to follow and the information they can grab from those newsletters.
And then our last question here was, what platform do you use, what district platform do you use most frequently? The website is always going to be a strong contender with a lot of information on it. The Germantown School District app currently has 2,100 downloads. For the people that answered none, I believe that they are strongly relying on email communication. And then the Germantown School District Facebook currently has 2,800 followers, and since September, our district platform has increased followers as well as all of our school Facebook platforms, with that increase in followers being steady over each month.
Something Mandy's done is she's met with each of our school leaders and school secretaries who do manage those Facebook accounts to build some guidelines and process around it so that we're really branding who we are as a school district, and that's where we've seen a high increase from the school-based Facebook sites as well as the District 1 followers and the likes, right? The thumbs up, meaning that it's the good work that's being shared there. So we share this frequently used district platform because too often communication can get saturated with too many venues to go to. So we want to try to hone in on where's the most bang for our buck and where are always go-to places for families.
And then lastly, our next steps are outlined here. We will be meeting with the principals again to discuss, our next topic is discussing the newsletter frequency and steps that we're going to follow throughout the rest of the year. The next slide outlines current efforts for each building. We've also been exploring a platform called S'more. If you've seen any of the elementary newsletters, this is a platform that they are currently using. It allows their principals and their secretaries to be able to use it, and our hope with that is to be able to include the middle school and the high school. It is user-friendly, as I said, and it's also able to be geared not just towards elementary, but the middle school and high school. And then lastly, one of my goals that I'm working on for the district as a whole this year is getting 3 posts per week, and whether that's on social media or the website, using on each of the school homepages, they have the news items and they also have the live feed. And I don't want to just rely on the Facebook, I want to use them both together in conjunction so that if someone's not on Facebook, they have the website as a source of information. Ultimately, having 3 posts a week will help us showing all the great things happening at Germantown School District about what's happening in our classrooms, what's coming up, what's going on in the community that our students can attend, and so forth. To wrap it all up, in spring, we will be sending out another similar external survey to track satisfaction. We are also working on an internal survey that will go out to staff in the near future. That wraps up everything I have today, unless Dr. Ryder wants to add anything else.
Yeah, I just think that, again, communication you can always improve on, so we're trying to utilize this data in a concerted effort to improve to our external. And as Ms. Race said, moving forward at the conclusion of this month, early February, we'll be sending a survey to all staff about internal communication and where we can continually improve there so that people know what's going on, they know how they're involved and how they're engaged in the work we're doing every day. As well as, I think, something Mandy and I spoke about this morning, I commend our staff. More and more teachers and school leaders are reaching out to her to say, hey, this really great thing is happening in my school, my classroom, my course, whatever it might be, and that gives us the opportunity then to promote the great work our teachers and all staff are doing in Germantown.
Also, a thank you to all of you. I see all your shares and your likes, and it's helpful to have people in the community willing to share this information and helps us get the word out there about us.
Very good. Any comments, questions? Okay, great report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Communication is obviously very important, and it's nice to have consistency across the district. I think that helps out parents, especially as you move from elementary to middle to high school. You kind of know what the routine is after
Absolutely.
a couple of years. So thank you. Okay, moving on to item 4, citizen comments. We had no one sign up tonight. So I will move on to item 5, approval of the minutes, December 19th, 2022, Board of Education meetings. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the Board of Education minutes from December 19th, 2022.
Second.
Mr. Browning with the motion, Mr. Pollock with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Item 6, Teacher and Learning Committee, January 17th, 2023, committee meeting update. Mr. Ewert.
We met on the 17th and kind of continued our conversations around the curriculum building process standards adoption. This forum took place in discussion on understanding by design and the district's work around taking the broad standards we adopt, prioritizing them and converting them into goals or kind of waypoints that outline work with the curriculum to give the community an understanding of what's going on, but also internally the expectations we're trying to meet with each standard and how that applies back to the work being done in the classroom itself. We kind of had some conversation around that. I would recommend going to see the video for the rest of that without getting too long-winded. And the other topic we discussed was around the human growth and development policy and the state statutes that dictate some of the actions that have to take place or the learning that we have to provide. I believe Jake and Chris will probably be bringing a recommendation to an update to that policy to include adherence to Wisconsin State Statute 11801, educational goals and expectations, which actually supersedes the human growth and development state statute that we did choose to opt out of by law. And this will just kind of provide clarification, not only to the teachers, but to the community and parents, what will be and won't be included into that program. And that's all I have.
Very good. Any comments, questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Item 7, new business. 7A, discussion and action of 2023-24 open enrollment seats. Dr. Ryder.
Yes, as we plan staffing and rollover of students to the next grade level for the 23-24 school year, we have district policy and statutory requirements related to open enrollment seats. You'll find in the packet and report this evening, prepared by myself and Ms. Timmerman from my office, a breakdown of our policy 5113 and how we calculate open enrollment seats, a worksheet related to that, and then recommendations for open enrollment seats at Amy Bell, grade 5, 10 seats, Rockfield, grade 4, 1 seat, and Rockfield, grade 5, 8 seats, and no special education seats across the district. I will point out, if you look at the calculation sheet on pages 3 and 4, you will see at MacArthur and GHS where it looks that there are possible openings. We did pull back historical data, look back data for 3 years, and we've seen that at MacArthur specifically, we see an uptick of students moving in the month of August and right away at the school year. So we wanted to not ask for approval of those seats to pad ourselves, so we're not in a predicament where all of a sudden we're trying to hire a teacher at the last second. And same with high school, we looked at parochial placements and those type of things that aren't in place yet, given the timeline of the school year where we could approve those seats, but then now we have kids moving to the district. We see an uptick of students that come in from our parochial schools to start their high school career at GHS. So that's why we're not bringing forth recommendations for those possible open seats at MacArthur and Germantown High School.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve 19 new open enrollment seats, 10 fifth grade seats at Amy Bell, 1 fourth grade seat at Rockfield, and 8 fifth grade seats at Rockfield for the 2023-2024 school year, in addition to applications for existing students already attending Germantown schools that have moved, and approve 0 special education seats for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
All right, Mr. Reineman with the motion, Mr. Pollock with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Thank you. Moving on to item B, discussion and action to approve 2022-2023 teacher resignations. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you. Christopher Tim recently submitted his letter of resignation effective January 5th, 2023. Christopher was hired in August of 2022 in the Germantown School District as a business teacher at Germantown High School. We ask that you approve his resignation.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the resignation of Christopher Tim and thank him for his service to the students, their families, and to the Germantown School District, and approve posting and filling the vacancy.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Pollock with the motion, Ms. Reineman with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Moving on to item C, discussion and action to approve 2022-2023 teacher contracts. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you. The administration is recommending the approval of the following limited term contract for the 22-23 school year. We're recommending Edward Hay, business education teacher for Germantown High School, is filling a vacancy created by a resignation. This is a 93-day contract for $27,900.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the 1.0 FTE limited term contract for Edward Hay at $27,900.
Second.
All right, Mr. Barney with the motion, Mr. Pollock with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Moving on to item D, discussion and action to approve 2022-2023 administrator resignation. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you. Jennifer Johansson has submitted a letter of resignation effective January 3rd, 2023. Jennifer was hired in August of 2019 as an assistant principal at Germantown High School. She has served the Germantown School District in that role for the past 3.5 years. We asked for approval of the resignation and approval of posting to fill the vacancy.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the resignation of Jennifer Johansson and thank her for her service to the students and families of Germantown School District. And
Second.
approve the posting and filing of the vacancy.
Sorry, I'll second.
Okay. Ms. Reineman with the motion, Ms. Eber with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Item E, discussion and action to approve donations. Dr. Reuter.
It wouldn't be a Germantown School District Board meeting without donations. So this evening, we have 2 donations, and you did read that first one correctly from Target. 2 carfuls of holiday candy at Rockfield Elementary. I actually saw this in person. The entire stage in the cafetorium is loaded with candy. So coming off the Christmas season, they had a lot of product left. A parent that is a parent that works at Target contacted Dr. Croat and said, could you use this for PTA events, school events, and who doesn't love candy? So there's a request to approve 2 carfuls of holiday candy for Rockfield Elementary, and we had an anonymous donor of $500 toward the Germantown High School Environmental Club. I think the funds specifically are geared towards the green space.
Again, donations are much appreciated and welcome. I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to thank the donors for their generosity and approve the donations listed above.
Second.
Ms. Reineman with the motion, Mr. Barney with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. I will entertain a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851D to consider strategies for crime detection and prevention, Wisconsin State Statute 19.851C for review of district administrator performance and consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Pollock and Ms. Reineman with a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Medved?
Yes.
Reineman?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Loth?
Yes.
Ewert?
Here.
Pollock?
Yes.
All right. 7:58, we are going into closed session. Thank you all for coming, and drive home safely.